Okay, for those of you who follow Antarctica closely, like we do, what if? What if everything we see, even the latest maps, is just, the tip of the iceberg? What secrets could that huge frozen place really be holding back? Maybe things that challenge everything we thought we knew. Because today we're doing a deep dive into some stuff that, frankly, might just do that. It really challenges those preconceived ideas. We've gathered, well, quite a stack of sources, some really fascinating audio clips in there too. And it's going to take us on a bit of a journey. We'll cover recent, pretty dramatic scientific stuff, then jump way back to some historic expeditions, and finally land on some really unexpected, almost startling modern views of Antarctica. It might shift how you see it.
Absolutely. And our mission really is to pull out the key insights, the important bits from all these different sources. We want to help you get a handle on not just the surprising facts, and there are some real surprises, but also what they might mean. Get you informed quickly but properly, and hopefully give you a few of those aha moments.
Right. Let's dive in then. We really have to start with this huge recent event, a massive crack over 120 miles long on the eastern side of the Antarctic Peninsula, and it finally just broke off.
Yeah, a huge break.
Huge doesn't even cover it. The iceberg it created, we're talking over 1 trillion metric tons. To give you a sense of scale, that's roughly the size of Delaware. The whole state.
Wow.
Just imagine that for a second, an entire state breaking off as ice. It's almost too big to really picture.
And what's really interesting is UCLA professor Aradhana Tripathi, she spent her entire career studying Antarctic ice.
All right.
She was actually caught off guard by how soon this happened. She's been there on that peninsula where the Larsen C ice shelf that's the one broke off.
Right, Larsen C.
So knowing the specific shelf helps.
Yeah.
And she'd already seen 2 other big chunks break off that same peninsula before, one in '95, another in 2002. So for her, an expert, to be surprised by the speed this time, well, that tells you something's potentially changing, or at least acting unexpectedly.
So if she was surprised, what does that quicker break suggest? I mean, you mentioned scientists don't fully agree on what it means yet. Do the sources give any clue why there's disagreement? Is it just the complexity?
Well, yeah, that's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Antarctica is obviously the coldest place covered in ice and icebergs breaking off. That's been happening for millions of years. That's normal. But the Antarctic Peninsula, specifically, was warming incredibly fast toward the end of the 20th century. One of the fastest warming spots on Earth.
Okay.
However, and this is important, that warming trend there has actually slowed down, or maybe even reversed slightly in this century. So that detail, it kind of complicates the picture, doesn't it? It's not just a simple story of everything's melting faster everywhere. There are regional things going on, complex dynamics scientists are still figuring out.
That makes sense. It's rarely simple. Okay, so that's the cutting-edge science view. But to really get the mystery, we need some history, too. Let's shift gears dramatically. Go back in time. Think about one of the most incredible expeditions. Admiral Byrd. Picture him on his supply ship, leaving New York Harbor, heading for the just incredibly dangerous Antarctic waters, making history as they sailed out, and the conditions they faced. I mean, just brutal. Byrd and his plane had to try this 800-meter flight first. Everyone else waiting back at Little America, super anxious. He makes it. The camera crew, Admiral Cruzen, they're waiting. Skis were absolutely vital, and thankfully they worked. But then daylight hits, and they're flying over this vast pack ice, frozen death below, as the source puts it, and the weather's closing in fast.
Yeah, imagine flying into that. The danger was just immense. And navigation, super tricky, especially with the weather closing, because close to the pole, your magnetic compass, pretty much useless.
Right, so how did they even manage?
Well, this is where Byrd was really innovative, according to the sources. Once they were past the pole, he used cameras and these magnetic detectors to explore land that was, and this is a quote, new to him and to all mankind. Just raw, daring exploration using clever tech instead of standard tools.
And that leads us to this just unbelievable moment, Commander Bunger's discovery. The sources paint such a vivid picture through his eyes. He sees this sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. Goes from just universal white everywhere to suddenly chocolate brown dotted with blue. A cameraman scrambled immediately, and this wasn't small. It was 300 square miles of land without snow. The source says it looked like it could be New Mexico or Arizona.
It really was an astounding undreamed of fact, as they put it. They were flying over a chain of warm water lakes, the shores, mostly free of ice and snow, just small patches here and there.
Warm water lakes in Antarctica.
Yeah. Bunker actually circled the biggest one 5 miles long, and he landed, took water temps, samples, found the water was fresh, not salty. And get this, 38 degrees Fahrenheit.
38 degrees? That's well above freezing. How is that even possible there? A whole system of warm, fresh lakes? It just turns your idea of Antarctica upside down.
Exactly. It fundamentally challenges that image of just ice.
And here's where it gets even more interesting, especially if you think about resources. On the shores of this oasis, they found, listen to this, vast deposits of coal and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization.
Wow. Coal and minerals.
Right. Suddenly, Antarctica doesn't seem so barren. It hints at, maybe huge reserves hidden away. If areas like that became known or accessible, changes the whole geopolitical view potentially.
You can see why they'd say it is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. Finding something like that, after all that risk, it must have felt huge, reshaping maps and maybe even future resource plans.
Definitely. Bird's 1948 discovery of that oasis, it was just game-changing for its time. But now, let's connect that history to what we can see today, because this is where the whole Antarctica story takes another, well, really unexpected twist.
Okay, so connecting the dots. Our sources talk about looking at this same area on Google Earth now, and while Google Earth shows it as, all white, the source points out that right around the South Pole, it looks kind of hatchy, almost like it was covered up with something, suggesting maybe the standard view isn't the full picture.
And apparently, if you dig around, you can find these things the sources call 360 pictures. A lot are wrongly tagged, sure, but some are in Antarctica. And comparing those to old footage from Bird's expedition, the source says they look pretty similar. It sort of reinforces that idea, doesn't it? An oasis in Antarctica. Not just something from history, but maybe still there, hidden or obscured somehow.
And get this, there's another image the source describes that, quote, blows me away. It sounds like it shows a giant sea right around the South Pole.
A sea.
Yeah, and with mountains in the background that apparently kind of look like evil castles. Definitely not all white like Google Earth shows it. It paints a picture of this dramatic, maybe unexplored landscape.
Wow, evil castles. And there's another spot mentioned too. Just pretty crazy looking, otherworldly, also near the South Pole. So the takeaway from these sources seems to be it's absolutely not a white, frozen, barren land directly around the South Pole, at least. It's very alien.
Yeah, alien is a strong word, but it conveys that sense of otherness, different from the common perception. The sources even mention finding little islands between Antarctica and South America just by using certain filters on maps. Like there's more detail hidden if you know how to look.
Okay, so you have these historical accounts of oases, modern imagery showing strange, non-icy features, areas looking covered up. It inevitably leads to more, let's say, out there ideas in the sources. And this is where we get into pure speculation territory, which we need to be clear about.
Right.
The source material explicitly puts forward the idea, and again, this is speculation from the source, that the huge iceberg breaking off recently, that Larsen Seaberg, that it is going to be what they use for an excuse to say they found ancient technology in a flash-frozen civilization.
Wow, okay. So the source is suggesting the iceberg break will be used as a cover story for a future announcement. Not that the break itself revealed anything.
Exactly. It's framed as speculation about a future narrative, a potential fabricated discovery. The source isn't claiming the iceberg break uncovered ruins right now.
Got it. That's a crucial distinction. It's presented as conjecture within the source about how such a discovery might be revealed, using a natural event as pretext.
Precisely. It's important we represent that speculation accurately as coming from the source material itself. Now, stepping back to Bird's time for a moment. His expedition, as we said, was incredible. The sources mentioned the return of his rear guard, those intrepid 4,000 veterans. They'd faced those extreme sub-zero conditions. Their journey was more than just science, right? It was about human spirit, courage. It really set the stage for Antarctic exploration.
Absolutely. And their reward, as the sources beautifully put it, their lifelong reward was knowing that they have met the Antarctic's heaviest battalions and conquered. Plus, they earned the Navy's highest commendation. That legacy, that bravery, it echoes through all subsequent Antarctic efforts.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive today, from the sheer scale of modern ice events and the scientific debates around them, all the way back to Bird and Bunger's historic quests, finding things like that unbelievable oasis.
Yeah, the oasis is definitely an aha moment.
Totally. And then forward again to these really strange, almost alien modern images and perspectives of Antarctica.
Our aim was really to help you get that knowledge quickly, but also deeply. And hopefully, yeah, you had those moments, the warm oasis, the weird modern images, thinking about what else might be under all that ice. It definitely challenges what we think we know.
So, The final thought for you, listening. Given everything we've discussed, the historical discoveries like the Oasis, these modern pictures suggesting things aren't just flat white ice, and even that very specific speculation from the sources about ancient tech and civilizations possibly being revealed, what else could possibly be hidden down there? Beneath Antarctica's enormous, icy, and let's face it, increasingly fragile surface, what might still be waiting to be found?
And if something is found, what could that really mean for how we understand our planet's past and maybe even its future?